Good morning, everyone. Good evening. Welcome to BSC News live once again on YouTube, Trovo, Rumble, Twitter, pretty much everywhere at the moment, and expanding to more platforms. I'm Tom, and with me we have Ben. How are you today, Ben?
Good. How are you?
Very, very well. Still excited from yesterday's Battle of the Dapps. I was very surprised that it was a tie. Yeah, I think with the Twitter polls, it doesn't update in real time, and it sort of updates in chunks, like every couple of minutes or something. And that's why suddenly at the end, because I was expecting Venus to win the poll. I was expecting Venus to win the poll, but suddenly at the end, Cryptopolis, which was very interesting indeed.
Yeah, I think we were basically like, okay, Venus is going to win. We were about to announce that, and then the poll closed, and there was like a 500 vote swing in the last minute.
Yeah, it was very interesting indeed. And on the subject of Cryptopolis, I was actually going to introduce this a little bit later. And I was going to do sort of a recap of the projects and stuff. However, I think this might be a little bit time sensitive. So hold on a moment. So I'm actually in the Cryptopolis game at the second, and a person invited me into their flat. And I don't know if they're going to chuck me out of their flat. So I just thought I quickly better sort of show you now. So this is inside of the game of Cryptopolis. So the project that won the community vote last night. I don't really know what to do in their flat. It looks like this person maybe wants me to play a game with them on the computer. Oh, I don't know. But yeah, this person here is a real person. They said, basically come to the flat with me. Come and I have a friend request from them. Fantastic. Okay. So yeah, they said come and visit my flat. So I clicked yes, and here we are. I don't really know what to do with them because it's only one of the first times I've sort of actually fully played the game.
Do you know what? This looks like so much like The Sims. Like you've got to fill up like happiness and cleanliness.
Yeah.
Like if you click on the pool table, does it give you the option to like?
Oh.
So
okay.
You're playing pool.
Yeah. But yeah, so I'm playing pool. I can't actually control it. It looks like the pool table's disappeared for the time being.
It's like The Sims, because you can't control what you do in there either. This is really interesting.
I don't think the people in it are sort of autonomous in the sense that they'll walk around and eat a pizza themselves. You have to. Oh, good. So I just played a game of pool.
Gave you some happiness.
Indeed, yeah. I might go and.
You just roller skated away.
Yeah, I'm gonna go up to their top floor, see what's there. Wow, I think they've got a really nice computer. Okay, so if I go play games on this PC now, so now I'm playing a game. So yeah, like you said, The Sims. I do need to sort of look into it in a bit more detail. I didn't realize it was this in depth and detailed.
This is cool.
But yeah, good fun. But yeah, I just thought. Sorry.
Or is there a shower, or is he just going to play games all the time?
Yeah, good question, actually. There is. I'm sure there is, but I'm sure they do that pixelated thing if they go in the shower.
Well, yeah.
Of course. But yeah, Cryptopolis. I mean, yeah, this is part of their platform. I think that the main part. I'm there, Tom_DeFi, if you'd like to add me as a friend. I don't know. Who knows? But yeah, it's quite interesting. So you can pimp out your flat as well. This person obviously has really... I don't want to play games twice, actually. Really pimped it out. I'm actually going to try and leave their flat now. Go to the lobby.
Oh, so you probably have to buy the token to get your own place kind of thing.
Yeah. So I'm going to... I assume so. I'm going to greet the concierge. Okay. I'm not sure where my flat would. I think obviously I haven't got a flat at the moment. All I can do is sort of wander around, visit that other person's flat. But yeah, this is the main lobby. Interesting stuff.
It's like
but yeah, the voting.
Sims.
Yeah, it is a lot like The Sims. I did, feel for you and Drew last night as the judges. It was a very, very, hard decision indeed.
It was.
And the other two finalists were Venus, which we'll look at next, and also Real Fever. So Venus were the overall winner. Actually, I'll get on to Venus last, obviously, because they were the sort of overall winner. I'm just going to quickly show a video of what Real Fever are sort of offering at the moment. So a video hopefully is going to take over the screen. So this is, Real Fever, one of the finalists. Here we go.
Never little wannabe gangster trying to play hard.
Cool music. So they offer licensed moments from sports matches, mainly football matches, as NFTs, and they call them moments. So they're little video clips like that, and perhaps pictures, sort of presented as trading cards. And that's just a little advert for something either that they've got upcoming or has already been released. But they were very strong indeed. As well. Yeah, so they were one of the three finalists. We did an AMA, I think, with them probably about 2 months ago or so now. But yeah, a really very strong team as well. And yeah, we were all very impressed with them. Well, partly that shows that, they made it through to the final. And then the overall winner, Venus. And I imagine, Ben, it was a very hard decision to actually come to an overall winner. Was it difficult to try and decide on one?
Yeah, I think because we have like the categories: security, longevity, and community. In security, it's like they're all secure, they're all properly audited, they take it seriously. So that it's almost like a three-way tie. Like we wouldn't have any non-secure projects in the finals of the Battle of the Dapps. And then I think I'm trying to remember exactly like what was weighing my votes. I know when it came to longevity, Venus has a leg up there due to their size and position, and that's what it was the question was about how when Binance does a Binance Launchpad, like people borrow so much BNB from Venus, that generates them a ton of revenue. And the point that basically, so I think the question was supposed to say like, a lot of your revenue comes from these outside events or whatever. And then Patrick's response was like, well, if Venus wasn't as strong as it was, that couldn't even happen, right? So it's like Venus is providing this huge service to the market. And then that kind of made me realize like, yeah, this is significant, right? Like I wish I had the stats. I know when on the last Binance Launchpad, like the amount of BNB that was borrowed pushed the APYs to like, it was like 70%, 60%, something crazy. So it was like BNB was like drained from Venus basically.
I remember. Yeah.
And everything worked as it should.
And would you be able to explain to us sort of how that works? So people essentially borrow BNB from a platform like Venus, and stake it on Binance, and then do they get that staked BNB back, and then essentially they just give it back to Venus?
Well, I think So it's not like a farming thing. So whatever BNB they stake there, some portion of it is gonna be, it's always like oversubscribed.
Yeah.
So some portion will actually be sold to Binance for that token. So then if the borrower of the BNB who lends a stable coin to borrow the BNB wants to pay that back, they've got to get BNB another way, either selling the Launchpad token or selling something else.
It's very interesting. But yeah, I do remember it was a few months ago, when the interest rates for borrowing BNB were sky high. I think we tweeted about it a few times on the BSC News account. But it would be good to, in an upcoming live show, perhaps sort of track a Launchpad release and look at the interest rates and the sort of dates and stuff, and look at them coincide with each other. And I know that, Ben, you're a you're very much into DeFi and also lending protocols and things. Would you be able to just quickly explain to us, simply perhaps how to use a lending protocol like Venus, and maybe sort of how to, get a bit of passive? I know it's a bit of an overused term, but it might not be the right term, but passive income through lending.
Yeah, the passive income side is if you were to treat Venus like your on-chain crypto bank. So you just lend assets there and you don't borrow anything, right? So just if you have Cake, if you have stable coins, Bitcoin, whatever, you can basically store them on Venus and you're going to get whatever the current market interest rate is. Plus you'll get a little extra XVS emissions, to boost it a little bit, but at this stage of Venus's like maturity, that's not that significant anymore. I mean, on there you can see if you supply Cake, you're going to get almost 21% APY on that.
That's a lot.
Yeah, and I think it's similar things going on. So like right now it's 44% to borrow.
Yeah.
Cake, but there's a I believe there's a launch, an IFO coming on Aptos Pancake Swap. So there could be a similar launchpad type demand that you see with Binance and BNB, but with Pancake Swap.
Okay.
So yeah, if you hop over, it'll be aptos.pancakeswap.finance.
Oh, hold on. Here we go. Move.
So this starts in 1 day.
Oh, that's interesting.
So Cake has been going up very steadily. It went, it was under $4. Now it's at like $4.50, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
And so it's a similar deal. People can borrow Cake on Venus to put into this sale. So same exact play as the Binance Launchpad.
That's very interesting. So is Cake on, well, I assume Cake's on BNB and Aptos then.
Yeah, right. So you could borrow on Venus and then bridge it over to Aptos. Or,
interesting.
did I say buy it on Venus? You could borrow it on Venus.
Yeah.
And, transfer, bridge to Aptos to use for this sale.
And so the people lending out Cake, do you know if they've already, well, the people doing that, the majority of them already sort of have Cake in their addresses, or do people buy Cake to then lend out and then sell it after? Or do you know what the lenders, their general strategy is?
There's probably so many different strategies. I would think a lot of the supply is people that just own it. They're going to hold it long term. So it's and you've got to remember their interest rate is paid in the token that they are supplying. So they're earning Cake at a 20% APY right now. So from a yield perspective, and also like a safety perspective, like Venus Protocol, the amount of liquidity of Cake token, it's probably not financial advice, but probably a pretty safe bet you can buy Cake or you can farm Cake and stake it on or lend it on Venus, for a good yield.
Very interesting. And here is the chart for Cake as well. If we switch to, say, 4 hours, actually, no, let's switch to
go back to that last chart, that 4-hour chart.
this one. Yep, here we are.
One more over. Maybe you did the 1 day.
1 hour?
Or try 1 day. Because it was the chart I was looking at earlier. Not that
this one?
Well, that works if you just zoom in.
Yeah.
I don't know. It looks like it's, there's definitely this resistance coming up, but if it can get through it, there's a lot of upside there.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I mean, if we look at actually, it might be easier to switch to logarithmic view. Hold on. Yeah, if we look at the all-time high, which was around $44, and look where it is now, $4. Yeah, certainly a lot of upside. And obviously, please do remember, listeners, that this is now in logarithmic view. If we were to switch to linear, you can certainly see more of the upside there. And the Cake token itself, is that inflationary, or is it not?
It's still inflationary. They obviously do a lot of buyback and burn from platform revenue, and then they have IFOs. They are working on reducing emissions. So, if you remember what Venus talked about in Battle of the Dapps, where their ultimate goal is a zero emission platform for XVS. I think what we're going to start seeing is these more mature protocols are headed that way, right? They got their token out there. It's a tough year or two while that inflation kind of runs wild, but they've got market share. They can cut emissions. And once that happens, Cake begins to act more like almost like a stock, right? You're going to be the shareholder. You're going to get the dividends, whatever it is. And things are going to get, I think, real interesting with these more mature protocols over the next couple years.
Yeah. And with Cake being inflationary, is there still a possibility for it to reach its all-time high? Because essentially they're printing more token, not printing, but making more tokens, minting more tokens, and I assume the supply is just going up or stable. Oh, actually, so it is inflationary. Obviously, the contract has that functionality to mint tokens, but do you know if the supply over time is actually increasing?
It is. I think. Well, so this is what's going to get interesting in the next year or two. If they cut emissions further, which they've already done an emissions cut, and it may turn deflationary due to the amount of buyback and burn and how much is used for things like IFOs. And then if they cut emissions further if they the concentrated liquidity model like Trader Joe's is going, is going to allow these protocols that have the liquidity to really cut emissions, right? It's a new way for liquidity providers to earn yield without them having to print a token. And I do know PancakeSwap V3 pools are on the way. I'm willing to bet it's a concentrated liquidity model. And I'm going to assume that Cake emissions will be dropping further. So this is actually the one I was going to tell you I wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
Is if Cake can turn deflationary or even just zero inflation, right? So if it's just constant supply and it continues to grow, I mean, it's like a 750 million market cap, which is good size. What's the market cap of, let's say, Uniswap?
I'm just yeah. So I'm just going. So first of all, yes, Cake there. So yeah, the market cap of Cake is 744 million. But then if we go on Uniswap, 5.16 billion. Okay,
and
so there's quite a big gap.
And see, now check this out. Go to DeFi Llama. Let's look at the TVL in volume between the two protocols, because I don't believe Uniswap has a whole lot more TVL than PancakeSwap. Now,
Okay, hold on.
what
Just
Uniswap has is Uniswap has no emissions,
oh,
right?
yeah,
So if you change the economic model on the Cake token, to me, this is like asymmetric bet to the upside all day long. Super bullish on Cake.
yeah, definitely. Okay, actually, sorry, this is showing it by chain. So if we do it by, do you know?
You could just probably type in or go back to DeFi at the top.
Yep.
Just click overview and then type in PancakeSwap. Oh wait, right down there, they're ranking now.
Okay, yeah, here we go.
PancakeSwap is 2.5 billion. Uniswap is 4.
Yeah, I see here. Yeah, so
But the market cap of Uniswap is like a 7 or 8x when the liquidity is less than a 2x.
yeah,
TVL. And I would argue that Cake is a way more useful token than Uniswap.
yeah, that's interesting.
So I would expect to see the great flippening of Cake to Uniswap. I think Cake is positioned properly, has way more use for their token, and they've got to find the right balance of not cutting emissions too fast so the liquidity doesn't just like leave, right?
Yeah, yeah,
But I think it could turn deflationary fairly quickly here. And so that's why I think Venus is in a similar deal where it's got about 1 billion TVL. The token market cap is, don't believe it's all that big.
no. But Venus is coming up very quickly because I remember when PancakeSwap pretty much consistently had around half of all of the TVL on BNB chain, and it still
I think they
does
still
hold.
do.
Oh, I just haven't added it up. Okay.
Well, what's
But
the TVL on BNB chain? It's probably around 5 billion.
let's have a look. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Okay, so they do have pretty much
They got
half.
49.88.
Yeah. Yeah. So pretty much bang on half. Okay, so they still do have pretty much half. Do you think they're ever going to be taken off that dominant spot? And also, is it good for them to essentially, not necessarily a monopoly, but be, having that much TVL, basically half of all the TVL on one chain just for PancakeSwap? Do you think that's a risk at all? Obviously, we all trust PancakeSwap.
Yeah, I mean,
But
I don't think it's much of a risk. And if anything, it's like you want the ability to trade efficiently.
yeah,
So if there was no like deep liquidity anywhere, then like trades will be inefficient and it, it's just like almost like wouldn't work, I guess.
indeed. Indeed. And I think, yeah, okay. BNB chain. Well, I mean, it's.
Also, Uniswap is on some big chains that that PancakeSwap is not on. Like I think Uniswap like went to Polygon and just like took most of the liquidity from QuickSwap. I'm pretty sure like if you go to Polygon, I think you'll see.
Oh,
Yeah, so QuickSwap still is the leader there, in
yeah,
terms of the DEX, but like Uniswap went there and got 115 million.
yeah.
Right. Obviously, most of their TVL is going to be Ethereum.
I didn't realize. I thought Polygon TVL would be a lot higher than 1.2 billion.
No, they're all
I thought,
low.
yeah, I thought it would sort of be on par with BNB, but then obviously Ethereum, that's. I think. Do you think Ethereum is always going to be, or at least for the foreseeable future, that the dominant TVL chain?
Yeah, I think obviously in this world things change fast, like developments happen fast, whatever. But I'd assume anything that's like the leader in its market right now is the leader for the next 5 to 10 years. Just,
Yeah.
like if PancakeSwap, barring some like unforeseen tragic event to Binance or PancakeSwap or something,
Yeah.
I don't see how anyone's just going to come in and just take all this liquidity. Not quickly.
Indeed. Do you use Tron much at all?
I don't.
Me too. Yeah. I don't use it much either. But that has around the same amount TVL as BNB chain. And I've not really heard of Just Lend before, but they have 3.47 billion. It's a network that I don't really know much about that I probably should know more about.
It's funny. It's Justin Sun's network. And it's like you have Just Lend, and then you have Just Stables, then you have Sun.
I know. That's what I was thinking as well. It's quite interesting.
It's like if we have CZ Lend, we have CZ Dex.
Yeah. Chengpang Lend.
Yeah.
Yeah. Instead of Chenpang Zhao, Chenpang Dao. That would be a good.
Yeah. He should turn himself into a DAO.
Yeah. And I think if someone else came up with that title, gone are your hopes of ever listing on Binance or anything. Chenpang Dao. Oh, I like that actually. Good. Yeah, very interesting. I could spend all day on DeFi Llama and sort of looking at on-chain analytics as well. A couple of other sites that I use for on-chain analytics are CoinGlass, which is quite interesting. Before we just get on to the next topic, CoinGlass, they call themselves on-chain analytics, but actually, as I said in a previous episode, everything, of course, is on-chain. They look at balances on exchanges, but also trades on exchanges, which perhaps aren't necessarily on-chain. But all of crypto, of course, is on-chain. You can't take crypto off chain. So CoinGlass is another interesting site I look at often. And this, shows the Bitcoin balances on exchanges. So we see, whoa, look here. So Binance has...
We have this on our website as well.
We do, yeah. I'll get the tab up. So for a quick overview, BSC News is the place to go for this sort of thing. And I was going to get to that after the next one. So I use CoinGlass and also Glassnode, which is another one. And then I'm now going to bring up BSC.news, probably one of the best sites around. And hold on. Where is it? Proof of reserves. Here we are. So what we can see here is the proof of reserves. And as we can see, Binance is up there.
Kind of the winner there?
Maybe. Yes. Yeah. Binance is, killing it, as they say. Another really cool...
Not too long ago, FTX would have actually been sandwiched between Binance and Bitfinex.
So, do you know what's happening with FTX? I mean, where all their... Actually, no, they didn't have... Did they have funds?
So, I think in this process, they've actually been able to find a good amount of stuff. Like something like last number I saw, I think was like $5 or $6 billion worth of assets, but not all of it's like actually liquid. It'll be like we found 500 million shitty Solana token, but if you try to sell the 500 million shitty Solana token, you've got maybe 50 million, right? Like
I see
a lot of the liquid investments on the books, and they're valuing it at like its book value, but not necessarily like what its liquid, its liquidity value, if you will, or whatever.
Yeah.
So eventually they have to liquidate. This might take years. It'll take years.
I wish I could just search hard enough and randomly find 5 billion in Solana tokens or something. It's mad how they can just
Well, I could print 1 million Ben tokens, and I could put and I could create a liquidity pool of $100, and I'll put 2 tokens in there, and it's going to make it look like my million tokens are worth $1 billion, right? I could do that also.
And the fully diluted market cap would be 50 times.
100 times, 1,000 times, million times. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's a good idea, actually. Well, time to mint some Tom tokens and get a fully diluted.
If you need to get a bank loan, create some Tom tokens, you'll get it on CoinMarketCap. You could show how much you hold, and you could add it to your net worth calculation. That's essentially what they did with FTT to get loans. They were like, oh, look at all this collateral we have. Look at all this FTT. It's worth $5 billion. Now, it wasn't worth that, but on the books it was. So, Ben Token's about to get me something I can't afford.
Naughty.
Right?
Very naughty. And I think Mr. Bankman-Fried is getting, well, hopefully he's getting what's coming. But, they say innocent until proven guilty. It'd be good to find out the full story, as well as that Alison. Is that her name, Alison? That lady that is seems to be hanging around the Sam quite often.
Hanging around the penthouse.
Yeah, I think they've sold that now, haven't they? Have they sold that?
I assume so. Yeah, they've got a lot of real estate to sell. This is a ton of stuff to sell.
Well, they should do. And I do hope investors, or just the average everyday user, obviously in institutions as well, get back some money. Because Mt. Gox, was it about 6 months ago, they started, giving back funds, or I'm not sure of the correct term, but people who had invested on that platform started to get back funds from what they lost. Sort of, was it 8 years ago or so? Mt. Gox? I can't remember, but yeah. Actually, I'm just going to bring up Mt. Gox's website, because it does actually say on there they've got. Here we are. Okay, this is Mt. Gox's website. Have you seen this? Yeah. So, there's a deadline of March the 10th, 2023, Japan time, to claim repayment or a refund of what you had. Half of it's in Japanese. But if you were a victim of Mt. Gox, go to mutgox.com. Fingers crossed. I don't know how it works or what's going on, but it's been a long time coming. And there you go. Quite interesting. Moving on. Anyway, Ben, I know that you perhaps wanted to say something about KYC. Would you like to perhaps elaborate a little bit on your thoughts on KYC and perhaps Pi Network as well?
Oh, so this came because I actually just got that KYC invitation or whatever, and I went through that process. It was super standard KYC. And I put a tweet out there about it, and then someone responded. We don't need to pull in who and whatever. Can't believe, you're doing this KYC. It's like social engineering. And I kind of just want to talk to you about it, because I was sitting there last night, and it was one of those things where I typed a reply and I deleted it, and I typed a reply and I deleted it. I ultimately decided it's just not worth it, right? I don't need to get sucked into my phone for the next hour about this. It's on first I don't think I understood what he was talking about. I don't understand how it's if I go to the bank to open a bank account, are they social engineering me because I have to have my driver's license?
Yeah.
There's an increasing amount of on-chain DeFi stuff that requires KYC. Eventually, the private sales sector of this entire space will be going that direction, whether it likes it or not, because pretty much the majority of countries have laws around these things. And so I guess I just don't understand, everything you can interact with is different, right? So if Pi Network is a KYC blockchain, that's maybe like a centralized concept and it's different than what you're used to, it doesn't mean it's social engineering, right? It just means
Correct.
that Pi Network is a totally KYC blockchain to interact with. That's actually all it means. And when I've spoken with other people that are like from this traditional crypto space about it, they just they act like it's like this thing from hell, right? Like, oh, I got KYC. And it's like, you KYC for so much. So much of your life requires your identity to be attached to it. So
Yeah.
And you don't have to participate. Like, that's the other thing. It's like people get mad about it, but it's like you don't have to participate in this. You're not like required to.
No.
So I don't understand the point of getting upset about it. Like if it's like, oh, like I've seen a KYC DeFi platform and I'm like, meh, if I KYC with it, I can participate in the stuff on their platform, but I'm choosing not to. Now, it doesn't like offend me that that's the route they went. They went like a very structured, regulated approach because they believe that positions them for the future of regulation. Like, great. That's their business model. So, I don't know. I kind of want to get your take on it. That's just like, and I'm just not that worried about it. Like, if someone really wants to go to the dark web and like buy my stuff, they already can. And that's not like a secret, right? It's like, how many data leaks have there been?
I
Also
dread to think.
The person used the words like, "Can't believe you're doxing yourself," and it's like, can we get past this like weird anonymous crypto thing?
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna make a new rule actually that if I don't know who is a major investor in something or who runs it and what their actual name is, I'm not going to put my money in it because that'll create a check and balance on the entire ecosystem. Like I'm tired of these like this anonymous dev. Like I don't even know what it is, but I'm like it's like no, you don't deserve to have 100 million TVL on your platform if you're hiding behind a JPEG. You just don't.
Why is it sort of seemingly socially acceptable to be anonymous in crypto? Do you know why we all just sort of, to an extent, sometimes take it for granted and just be like, yeah, they're an anonymous dev team. Hopefully it's okay. Do you know why?
I think the culture like started that way because like all of crypto is like this thing against the system, right? Like, but like it's not against the system. The system will crush it if it doesn't regulate with the system. Like that thing that like the U.S. When everyone called this big like nothing burger when the Department of Justice in the U.S. like arrested those French nationals for running that dark web exchange. The thing that they said that was significant, right? So, it's excellent they took out an illegal off ramp. Like I don't know why like the crypto Twitter space was like, no one's even heard of this thing. It's like, yeah, you probably haven't heard of it because you're not like selling fucking heroin through Mexico and using this dark web exchange as an off ramp. Like I get that you haven't used it. That's good. Otherwise you'd be in jail. Excuse my language. Is this going to be like taking off of YouTube now? But what the Department of Justice said was like, we're just going to show you that like we don't care where you are, right? Like if you do this, you will get arrested. You will face charges. And so like, yeah, this whole like anonymous thing, it's not good for the space. It's not going to be taken seriously, right? The space is evolving because of the people that are not anonymous, right? Like the funds that are investing money, right? The people you can trust in the space. It's not continuing to grow because some JPEG Twitter account, is launching projects every week. That's anyway.
No,
so
I think
I hate the anonymous thing. I hate it.
I think it's completely understandable. I think in a crypto ecosystem where transactions and everything could be completely trustless, permissionless, and that could actually happen. Being anonymous would be fine, but crypto has evolved into what it is today, and smart contracts can have complete ownership. People can just take what they want out of it, change it at any time. That being anonymous now, you could do a lot more, perhaps historically, than you could. Using back to a deep web example, just using sort of peer-to-peer transactions. There was perhaps a Web 2 based site, a bit like eBay, where you could buy and sell whatever you wanted, and send Bitcoin to some randomer, and they send you something through the post. It's just a peer-to-peer transaction. Fine. And if I was doing it, I'd sort of want the person to be anonymous, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, what it is now, there's so many, middlemen with power to take what they want. So I think being anonymous historically could have been okay, as long as smart contracts or whatever you're doing was completely permissionless. But now, with what you can do in crypto with the centralization, people can just, essentially it's just a business, and you can steal lots of money, and they think they can get away with it. But the authorities are catching up with you, young sirs and young madams. They'll come for you.
Well, I think what is important here is like I want this to be like the serious financial infrastructure of the future, right? Because it's not about, to me, this whole thing was never about like, I don't know, getting rid of the dollar or whatever. For some people, that's what it is. For me, it's like my bank currently pays me 0.001% interest on the money in my, let's say, savings account, and they're making 5% on it, right? So that spread of 5% to 0.001 is filled with buildings and customer support centers and complexity and like underwriters and all of this stuff that Venus Protocol just got rid of, right? They're like, no, like there's this, obviously the platform takes a small fee from the interest, earned on the people borrowing, but they don't have the infrastructure to spend the money. It's a more efficient bank. So to me, it was about Netflix taking down Blockbuster, right? It is a more efficient business. These PancakeSwap allows me to be a market maker where Robinhood would never in a million years let me do that, because they're getting paid by their market maker, right? So it allows the individual to benefit from, like, none of this stuff is inherently innovative, right? Trading assets, like DeFi didn't create trading. DeFi didn't create borrowing and lending. They just did it better, more efficiently, and in a way that benefits the actual, in terms of like things that benefit the little guy, these benefit the little guy. You get higher interest on your assets. You can be a different type of market participant that you couldn't before. And you don't need to have the developer be a monkey picture, right? Like we can know, like, why.
Yeah.
Like, no, I want to know who it is. I want someone to be accountable. And I want them to be doing it legally. Like, there's nothing, I don't want the money that I'm putting on Venus to be borrowed by a cartel and used for illegal activity. I don't want that.
Yeah.
It's weird to me that people would be like, yeah, I'd rather have the money I lend on Venus be used by a fentanyl producer than for people just to be KYC.
Yeah, most definitely.
I don't know why that's like a controversial take in the crypto world, but sometimes it is. But maybe it's not controversial anymore.
Yeah, I was just trying to find then as
well.
well.
Like a rant.
No, I think it's good. It's good. It's certainly good, to hear your point of view, Ben. You're a wise man. So it is Great to hear. I was
Not
just
that
trying to
wise.
find then the carbon footprint of the finance industry, and then what is the carbon footprint or energy use of crypto, essentially people running nodes, mining, that sort of thing. Because I'm sure the crypto industry or people, running nodes and things, the energy usage of that and the carbon footprint is so much lower than, say people getting on trains every day, building these massive skyscrapers for banks and things. And then, you've got a couple of 100,000, graphics cards running. That's got to be a lot better than what it is at the moment in terms of just the environment, maybe.
I would say when it comes to proof of stake, I think you could scale crypto to the size of the financial system, and obviously crypto would have a way smaller carbon footprint. If you were to scale Bitcoin to the size of the financial system, I don't know if people make that statement of like, oh, look, like the financial system uses like so much more carbon footprint. Yeah, but like also Bitcoin's a $500 billion asset and the financial system's a quadrillion dollar industry. So what happens if you scale Bitcoin to the size of the US GDP and financial system? Is it really still better for the environment, or are you like melting the planet with servers? I'm just gonna and I have no idea. I actually don't have a stake in that fight. It's not something I think about or like care about. Maybe that's bad.
For next episode, I'll have some details of energy usage and carbon footprint just so we can look at it. But with Bitcoin and mining nodes, what we could do is just power them with a volcano, and that
can happen.
is the solution.
I do think most Bitcoin mining, I know it's over 50% is like renewable energy at this point. And I think what's interesting is the need for, or the social pressure of Bitcoin not to be dirty will end up, and so for Bitcoin miners in the whole industry to find good renewable options, it'll probably push the renewable industry forward, right? Like, because I can tell you that like if you're a big Bitcoin producer, you don't want to be pointed at being like, hey, look how much coal you're burning to mine Bitcoin. Like, no, that's bad. You want to find a way to do it as as planet friendly as possible.
Indeed. I'm trying to find some details at the moment by respectable organizations, wwf.org.uk. That's not the World Wrestling Federation, by the way. That's the World Wildlife Fund. But it gives me like a 40-page PDF each time. So next stream, so hopefully, I'll have some details about the emissions and what could be, more sort of beneficial on the environment. But we will see. It certainly is very interesting topic to discuss. I have the details like right in front of me, but they're just contained in the most novel way.
No, we should get those, do some of that research for tomorrow, and
don't you
that's
worry.
something interesting to look at, because that's where proof of stake does have a huge leg up. Like, you can, the whole BNB blockchain, whatever, is basically like 30 computers secure the whole thing. Now, people obviously say that's a problem, but that's the reality. Is you have 30 computers plugged into a regular outlet running the second largest blockchain, as compared to one that like you could like heat Mars with.
Yeah. Is it 30? Do you know? Or is it 11?
Actually, I think it's less. I think it's like 21 validated. This is something I should definitely know, and at some point I did know it.
Yeah.
I think it's 21.
I'm just going to quickly check. I think, you're correct. It's 21. 21.
And 7 of those could be on one computer. So you could only have 14 computers running this.
Indeed. Okay. So on BSC News, the place for all crypto news especially BNB, we have an article about BNB chain validators. Well, how you perhaps become a validator. You know what they are, and the things that they do: adding new blocks, validator rewards, validating the network, governance, securing the network, all that sort of thing. There it is. What I would like to quickly do now is talk about our sponsor. However, they're very, very useful. I use them myself. So I'm just going to read a little bit of a blurb, just so I don't mess anything up. Anyway, front-running and also sandwich attacks are malicious forms of MEV that have serious consequences for traders in the DeFi ecosystem. You might have seen, if you're trading DeFi, a buy and a sell, or a sell and a buy, that happen pretty much in the same block, but very, very quickly, with normally a large amount of crypto. So it might be, a person buys 40 BNB worth of a token, and then a second later sells 41 BNB worth. And people might think, well, what on earth was the point of that? What's this person doing? And that's called front running. So essentially using your transaction to benefit them, and also drain liquidity from the liquidity pairs in that project. It loses you, or the trader, the user, money or assets or tokens, and also it drains the liquidity pool, so the project or liquidity providers will keep on having to top that up. However, there are ways around it. Often it happens with projects that use slippage, or if you're buying a token release or something and you need to use slippage because the price is very volatile, there is always a chance that you get front run. However, using something called, I'm just going to bring up their QR code, blocks root, you can avoid this. All you need to do is add their custom RPC URL. So in MetaMask, when you set up a network and you add the RPC URL, all you need to do is add this one right there. Just scan the QR code with your mobile, and it'll take you to a page about how to set it up. It's completely free, so it is a no-brainer. I'm just going to read the last little explainer paragraph that I've got written again, just so I get all details covered. To solve this problem, Bloxroot created BSC Protect, the first professional grade, absolutely free, front-running and also sandwich prevention tool available to retail traders on the BSC chain. Takes around 30 seconds to set up using BSC Protect and Get Protected. And as I said, all you need to do is add the RPC URL to your MetaMask, and Bob's your uncle. You can also add it to other wallets as well. For example, it works on the Crypto.com DeFi wallet extension. You just add a custom wallet and add that RPC URL. And front running, you don't have to worry about it anymore. It's very, very clever indeed. And once again, I personally use it myself as well. That's something that I just liked to add. So if you are involved in DeFi, it's certainly worth doing. Anyway, all you need to do again is just scan the little QR code right down there. Ben, before we start to tie things up, is there anything that you'd like to add, comment on, say? The floor is yours, my friend.
I don't think so. I think I've ranted my opinions enough for today. So
all good.
yeah.
Also, listeners, if you have any comments or anything at all about crypto, please do comment on these videos either live or on the sort of posts, recorded versions, and we'll endeavor to get back to you. Also, there's a possibility we could have an Overwatch tournament upcoming. If you play Overwatch, let us know, because here at BSC News, we might have an Overwatch team. I'm not saying that we do. We might do. Who knows? Maybe. So if you do play Overwatch, let us know. We can perhaps sort something out there. Anyway, I hope you all have a wonderful rest of the day. I look forward to seeing you all. Well, I look forward to you all seeing me and Ben tomorrow, same time, 3 p.m. Soon it's going to be 5 p.m. to accommodate the sort of world times a bit. But yeah, for the time being, 3 p.m. Look forward to seeing you all again tomorrow for another smashing episode of BSC News Live. Thank you very much and have a lovely rest of your day. Ciao.